He said no! Okay, I don't know what's the answer. Hello, my name is PolishLynx and this is Cupid. This girl here, Catherine, asked if this guy here, Julien, will make love to her. Well, let's find the answer. Boom. Julien's brow shot up in surprise. Right now? Yeah. No. Well, if you're not ready, later is also fine. Or tomorrow. But since it's early morning, then technically it's today, right? Julien's head tilted slightly, and an amused smirk plastered on his face. Please take me seriously, Julien. This is important to me. I have to know. I have to make sure. Make sure of what? Catherine? Julien held her hand. I think you are tired. And just a little bit balmy. More than usual, I mean. But this is what we will do. Julien guided the woman to the bed and sat her down. We are going to lay on the bed. I'm going to pat your hair until you fall asleep. I shall skip work today. Have that trifling little talk you want. And as such, if you're still in the love-making type of mood, then, mademoiselle, I will take you up on your offer. Catherine's eyes moistened, but this time they were happy tears. I love you. Julien shrugged and lifted Catherine's legs up onto the bed. I love you too, and aren't you lucky? Save it! He climbed on the bed beside her. Catherine dropped her arm over him. He searched for her hand, brought it up to his lips and patted it. She closed her eyes and rested her head on his chest, comforted by the warmth of his embrace. Monsieur, can I ask you something? Huh? Why do you love me so much? Julien mused for a while. Is that a trick question? It feels like a trick question. Catherine whined. Alright, I shall humor you for now because you are in such pathetic state. I love you simply because it's easy to love you, darling. You are my star, my light. You keep me right always. You make me want to do good by you, to be a better person. You aren't even my wife yet, but the townspeople are already calling you their lady. I may have to hand you the marquisdom myself. That is only because everyone in town knows who I am. Oh, I wonder why that is. Is it because you help sell vegetables in the marketplace on the weekends? Or because you conspire with my cooks to hold impromptu picnics with the locals? You know what about that? You know about that? He knows. One can only sneak out that much food without getting noticed, Madame. It amuses me how the servants cover for you upon inquiry as well. It was my idea. They are not to blame. I know, darling, I know. Julien chuckled and kissed her temple. It goes to show how your presence uplifts everyone's lives, including mine. But honestly, those reasons are exactly why. I love you, Cat. I just do, beyond what I thought I was capable of. Catherine's heart cracked with his last utterance. If I did something bad, would you still love me? Yes, I would. Are you sure? I am sure. What if I've hurt an innocent person? What if I've hurt you? She bit her lip. What if I was unfaithful? Julien stared at her questioningly. Catherine buried her face in his chest. She felt his hand smooth away her hair. He whispered gently in her ear. If you would still have me, come back to me. True. What happened doesn't matter at all. You are not your mistake, Scuff. Julien cleared his throat. Suddenly, he seemed to have trouble breathing. You have the power to change. How about you? If I told you that I am not what I say I am, would you? Huh? What do you mean? Never mind. It's a silly question. What? Is something bothering you, too? Julien turned his head away and closed his eyes. Nothing, darling. We should sleep now. Catherine patted away the frown on his brow. She traced his cheeks with her fingers. Julem, I do love you. Now I am more than certain. It gives my heart happiness to know for sure. What reminded me was your generosity. You give every bit of yourself to the people you love. Do you know that? Because I have to, darling. Well, you have always inspired me, true. I have always looked up to you. You treat everyone, no matter their status, with kindness. Never have I met a man more generous and thoughtful about others. A man with so much love to give. And that is why I love you. You are a good man. But if that's not what I really am, Catherine shook her head. You can't fake sacrifice, Monsieur. I have seen your care for the people in this town. I've seen how you've loved me. I don't care much for intention, you see. It's what we actually do that defines us. Julem paused, his voice choked up in his throat. Not always. Not always. Julem found Catherine's head on his face and squeezed it. She stretched her neck and kissed his cheek. Catherine, you're always scared I will leave you. But the truth is, I know it is you who will leave me. And it hurts. What? You are different. I've loved you for so long. It scares me how deep I have rooted myself. Sometimes I deem it better to end this wretched existence. To save you from... What are you talking about, Julem? You're not making any sense. Is it your turn to scare me? I'm sorry. They didn't speak for a while. The air became a little uncomfortable. She could feel Julem's stressful breathing on her forehead. Catherine wondered what Julem was talking about, but it didn't seem like he wanted to discuss it further. When Julem started to calm down, Catherine thought it was best to sleep and ask him about it the next day. But Julem spoke again. His voice was low and serious. Catherine, do you love me? With all my heart, Julem. I've loved you for what it seems like my whole life. The candle flickered. Julem slipped his hands on Catherine's hair and gently pushed her face towards his. She closed her eyes and let the sensations of his lips take her. His mouth left sweet traces on her skin, as if washing away her sins, blessing her, anointing her. Catherine tasted salt in his kiss, like the taste of tears. She wanted to take away all his sorrows. Julem held her tightly. Longingly, she drowned herself in his embrace. His palm caressed her neck as he kissed her, sliding down her arm and the curve of her waist. His fingers tugged gently on her skin. Catherine darted her tongue inside his mouth, and Julem answered it with his own. She wanted his every kiss. She felt pleasure to know he was there. He was hers. Her hands ran up and down his back as their kisses grew heavier. She felt him get excited, and she moved her hand between his legs. Julem broke away. Gav, let's stop. You are tired. Catherine looked into his eyes and saw he wanted her despite his protests. After the events of that night, there was a despair in Catherine that longed to be quenched. It was a selfish atonement, perhaps a hunger for self-worth. She ran her tongue over his lips. I want this. Gav. Catherine stared at him, dipping her head and plunging her tongue deep into his mouth. She opened his shirt, nibbling on his ears as she did. She could feel his manhood alive on her thick. She moved her hips, and the short moan left his throat. She bit her lip coyly. It made her want to do more. The clench of his jaw, his aroused breath, the cord of his neck. They were her little trophies, her bliss. Catherine pulled his shirt free. She traced a finger down his bare stomach, keeping the rhythm on her hips. He opened his mouth, his eyes fluttering. She watched in ecstasy as he bit his lip. Okay, this situation is much different from what was in the past, well, in the previous episodes. To know that he couldn't resist her made her swell with pride. Julien grinned at with her. He began to answer her passion with his own energy. Julien sat up on the bed, finally reaching for her, finally giving in. It felt like a victory to her. Julien grabbed her neck and pulled her face to him. Okay, I have a feeling something bad might happen because of that music. Yeah, his tongue bored deeply into her. Catherine pulled on his hair, surprised at his sudden intensity. Heat ran through her body. She severed his dominance. His lips ran down her neck to her chest. He sucked on her collar when working the buttons on her blouse. He slipped the garment down with his teeth and kissed the bare skin experimentally. Every nerve felt tender. Every length of skin felt raw. It was a reminder, an awareness that her flesh was a living thing. Sensor for sure. There was a build-up tension as he squeezed her breast, planting soft, tiny kisses on its fullness. His hands hovered near her crotch. A stray finger would brush her sensitive spots almost innocently. It drove her mad. He was teasing her, studying her reactions with every touch. Catherine drew a sharp breath as Julien sucked on her nipple. His tongue played with it until it was hard and paired. Catherine felt like a melting candle. Hot and blaze, dripping, towing in her own heat. Her heart began to pace in time with her kisses, growing steadily heavier, beating louder. From sweet affection to wanton lust. He whispered her name, and it sent a violent tremor throughout her skin. It would start in her torso, searching through her, starting the roots of her hair. Her throat made short, hurt sounds. She would usually stop here, and irksome apathy would take out of her. And she would stop. Now, this wasn't like the other times. Catherine felt a hot throbbing at the pit of her stomach. A clenched her body wound her up tighter and tighter, putting her in danger of release. This was different. This was... Do you love me, Catherine? Julien, Her voice came out throaty and thick. Julien laid her down on the bed. His finger slipped easily inside her, destination smooth, like silk. She felt like him moving around inside, pressing on her walls experimentally. It didn't take long for him to find her weakness. He was surprisingly, worryingly adept. Catherine squirmed. She didn't have time to marvel at this expertise. His left hand massaged her breasts, while the other tickled the lips of her opening. His little finger patted her other hole. Petted. Julien's lips ran down her shoulder. She barely noticed him slipping another finger inside. When she did, her mind went wide for a few seconds. A sharp breath, then a sigh. Her hips were moving on their own while her tongues flickered and danced. Another heart seemed to beat and throb furiously in her groin. She felt for him. She found his shaft stiff under his trousers. She squeezed his stiffness, eager for its curve. Cloth against flesh, soft against hard. Lips and teeth, spit and sweat. Their bodies began to rock together. Their breaths were hot and audible. Julien dug his tongue on the hollow of her neck. Catherine whined. The soft sounds returned to her lips, but Julien covered them with his mouth. Her voice echoed in their heads. She wanted to scream, and the scream would come from very deep. Do you love me? Oh God! I love you. Whatever, she said in an urgent, desperate frenzy. In and out of his fingers went, each time touching her places. With every movement he seemed to steal her breath. Faster now. Then she twitched and something snapped inside of her. Her toes curled and a squeal escaped through her nose. Catherine opened her eyes. She caught something alarming as she stared up at him. He didn't look like Julien in the shadows unlit by candlelight. His features were the same, his eyes were in the same place. His nose and lips were the same shape. But this man was a stranger. He did not care for her, like how a snake didn't care for its prey. For a brief second she was afraid. A tiny voice told her to run away, but that voice was washed away by a wave of carnal desire. The stranger grinned at Catherine. Mine. Faster now, deeper, his kisses went as if reaching for something inside of her. His wave on her body excited her, but it also felt like a prison. Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit, run. Catherine viciously devoured his lips. Her hands cruised south, kneading and clutching greedily. Her legs were dropped around his waist. A force overtook her. Great, it's changing into rape. Awesome. A hunger. Here comes the farmer's gun. What? She tried to ignore the growing coldness in Jerusalem's eyes. She tried to ignore the way her body moved on its own. Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit, run. Her hands found the clasp of his trousers, and she undid them. Quickly, now. Quickly. She clutched his harness, moving her hand up and down. Catherine's mouth salivated. He bit on her shoulder. She felt more of his teeth than his lips on her body. Catherine scolded herself for being aroused. Her mounting terror only served to aggravate her urges. She wanted this. I want this. I don't want this. She was hungry. She is hungry. I am not. She heard the man snicker. He wants his farmer's pie. Okay, so don't stand idly by. Run, rabbit, run. Huh? He entered her without warning. Catherine gasped. The shiver was from both pleasure and fear, a dangerous mix. But it was cruel. There was no warmth, just cold, hard greed. And yet she couldn't help but want him. She pushed her hips to move with him. She wanted to please him, slowly at first savoring the warmth of his new territory, then faster, keeping a steady pace. Catherine's voice kept in time, her breaths were high and hot. With their every movement, Catherine felt her energy wither away. A heady, nauseous feeling of malady was clawing at her. What was missing? What was taken away? She didn't know what was gone until it was. The final scream of protest died in her mind, the last that was left of her lucidity. The urge to escape. The more reasons to stop. Catherine moaned. Stop? No, I must not stop. Why did I even think that? What if he'd hate her? It was an agonizing thought. She had to give him more. More? His eyes observed her with cold amusement. Catherine touched his chest in reverence. His eyes were cold, but his body was like fire. Wait, what? What the? In her mind's eye, he had started to become something else. A winged creature engulfed in flame. Both hot and cold and magnificent. Both beautiful and terrible. Both dark and light. At times she would be on the bed with a man she might remember as one she once loved. Other times she would be floating suspended in a dark chasm of flesh. There was a creature with her, somebody she both loved and adored. Sometimes there were two people. Sometimes there was only him. Only him. The woman called Catherine didn't exist. She was merely an extension of his mind. Soon all of her would be gone, little by little disintegrating to be a part of him forever. Catherine screamed. She came again with that thought. Oh, bliss. She was prepared to give everything to him. It didn't even seem a worthy sacrifice to lay at his feet. But no, all he asked was her heart. That small, pathetic thing. It had always been his, anyway. She gave it gleefully. He was so generous and considerate. Benevolent. Fair. She savored his fullness inside her body. She worshipped him. He was her god. Please want me. Please find me pretty. She craved his love above anything else, above fear and confusion, above the morning and something precious lost. Love her, please. Love her, yeah. She begged. I'll do anything for you. She will, anything. Her lips did not move, save for a smile. The words simply dropped in her head, echoed and took root. Catherine's eyes lost their glimmer. Anything. Then tell me again. I want to hear it. Do you love me, Catherine? Hey. Her name on his lips was the only reminder of her former self. Do. Okay, she said she loved him. So much. With these words, she felt him stiffen inside her. He moved faster, aroused by her devotion to him. A wave of fire burned her lips as their mouth and wind. His passion heightened, his back arched. Sweet bead bedded on his forehead and traced his temple. What a wondrous sight. He was eyes beneath of a sun on the verge of eclipse. His coldness replaced by radiating heat that melted and fastened her to him like firm metal. She felt the orgasm straight on her insides. Really, do you love me? Yeah, she loves you. She screamed. The candle fizzled out. Beneath the depths of her hazy mind, she was relieved she didn't have to look at his face. Oh, come on, end this already. She tastes just like the richest chocolate, the finest wine. I can't stop. My whole body shivers with the taste of her. Her breath on my neck, her fingers scratching at my back, the sounds she makes as I push into her. Her laugh gives me sustenance to move faster, to devour her faster. Stop. I knew waiting so long would be worth it. I have been her lover for years, and this flavor is divine. My head spins, my appetite swells. I can't stop. I pin her hands in a tight grip, push them above her head. Her legs squeeze my waist. I can feel excitement mounting in her helplessness. I lick my lips in delight. I haven't breathed so deeply for a long time. We're taking too much. Her love is exquisite. It is laced with anger, reverence, disappointment, pain, memories, all different religious and moral cells melting into one. Stop it! Her love is delicacy. You're destroying her. I can't stop myself. I haven't tasted this kind of love for so long. And you're stupid. Flirtation and physical attraction can only get me by for so long. I was going to wait. There is a warning in her love. Confusion, doubt, but that having of killed triggered the flavor perfectly. I must feed now. Her love is the most perfect tonight. My body wants her. I couldn't stop now, even if I wanted to. Liar. That's true, liar. And I almost let it escape. To save her. I almost ran away. To love her, I love her, I love her. And tomorrow, maybe, what will become of her? I will find another, next time. Something insignificant. I want to relish this taste a bit more. Oh, fuck. No, no. The mounting pleasure in my bones chomps on my groin. The numbness spreads to my stomach. It is almost painful. It coats me to increase my rhythm, and she follows my lead. Good girl, good girl. With every move, I feel her love osmose into my other mouth. She clings to me, her moans louder, her bare chest glistens with sweat. She's beautiful. It won't be long now. A final drawing of breath. Do you love me, Catherine? Give me all your love. All of it. Give it to me. I want it all. It's mine. Mine. Catherine. Give me more. I want more. 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 Okay. Finally over this. Okay. Over 24 minutes of one freaking scene. Okay, it's not. Yeah, it. Damn it, I don't. We need to kill him. Sorry. Okay, in the next episode. See you then. Bye.